what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. Jake, I haven't done a ton of digging. I would say I've done pawing at the ground. But there seems to be, as I'm sifting the dirt off the, kind of, what is that under there? There seems to be a lot of juice that Matt House is going to be retained as defensive coordinator. And that changes will take place underneath. This is, you could say, very frustrating, and I would not say no, but this is fascinating as well to me on multiple levels. And not the least of which is a combination of Alex Grinch and what we talked about yesterday. We just saw USC go through something shockingly similar where you had this incredible team that was so clearly held back by their defense. Everybody knew it. Everybody yelled about it. Everybody demanded change. The head coach stood by his man, and, well, nothing changed. And it ended up sinking the second season. It ended up sinking it harder than you ever could have imagined. And, Jake, it really sunk now the first 2 years of Lincoln Riley. All of a sudden, everybody kind of thinks Lincoln Riley sucks and is a fraud. All this goodwill, years of incredible resumes and Heismans, the way that people think about him and talk about him right now is actually super disrespectful to what he's done in college football up to this point. So the fact that you just saw that took place and you're in the almost exact same boat, and if you make this decision, I find that to be fascinating. But also, how about when you combine it with this, the conversation we had yesterday, when we were talking about success or not? And we said, look, if you look at these first 2 years of the BK era as laying the foundation, then yes, it was a success. But now you have to take the step forward. And so in year number 3, when you have to take the massive step forward and you're losing your Heisman quarterback, you better be right. Yeah. You better be right. Like, you are putting your nuts on the chopping block here. Not from a job standpoint. Your job security is fine. But reputation, belief from the fans, belief from boosters, administrators, if you make the decision stick, you better be right.
So the Alex Grinch comparison, Alex Grinch has been bad for a long time. And there's not a lot of good to point back to. So it's a little bit different of a conversation because LSU was 34th overall last year in total defense. So it was much better. Now, This year can never happen. This is one of the worst defenses LSU's ever had. You put it up there with 2020, and you put it up there with some of the late 90s defenses that we saw. And, I don't pretend to go back to the 80s and 70s. I'm sure there's somebody that could point out maybe one that was similar. I don't know that. But in recent memory, this is one of, if not the worst. You can make the argument for it. And so,
oh yeah, this got to be. This is worse than the Pete Malvito. This is
2008 was. Yeah, you're right. That was an adventure.
But this ain't even close.
No. So when you look at what it was
just worse than Pelini.
Points per game, I think it is worse. So when you look at that, you have 34th to go back on, but then you see what this year was, and being inside those meeting rooms. Does BK think this is more of a position coach situation? And you did lose your defensive line coach, and the defensive line suffered because of it the first couple of games. That was probably the thing that you and I pointed out the most outside of the zone coverage on tape when we watched the defensive line play and being a yard and a half off the ball and getting stuck on blocks and not using their hands and all those things. So if you make the decision to keep Matt House, I would assume that means every level would have a new position coach. Am I wrong there? Do you think
No, I think that's the funny part about the dynamics of college football, right? The people demand blood, and the more money you make, the more valuable that blood is to satiating the masses' hunger. And so it's instead of one house, you have to get rid of 3 underlings. And it sucks. It sucks for everybody involved, and it sucks for all the families and everything. And I'd probably be pretty frustrated if, whatever, I'd be frustrated if I was anybody. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.